Teenagers before the internet. What did you do in your room during your spare time? CDs, radio, trying to make mixtapes, magazines, books, video games, talk on the phone, reading, listening to music, drawing and creating, playing, hanging out with my brothers and friends. I spent a lot of time in my room and was never bored. Mostly video games. But my best friend and I did spend one summer making a claymation version of Pulp Fiction, using characters from Gumby. That was a fun one. Read a lot, watched movies, talked on the phone for hours at a time. That's assuming I was home in my room, which wasn't a lot. I was out at the mall with friends, or hanging out at their houses, going to movies, arcades, etc. I was never bored. Even when I was at home alone in my room, boredom just wasn't a thing when I had a good book. I would listen to music, read teen magazines, talk to my friends on the phone, landline, for hours, and daydream about marrying Eddie Vedder. I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s where we had internet. But it was one family computer. Couldn't be used at the same time as the phone. And we were very limited on time. I had 3 siblings. We honestly didn't hang out in our rooms that much. We played football in the street outside and rode our bikes and rollerblades around with neighborhood kids. My family didn't have a video game console. But sometimes we'd go play Mario Kart at friends' houses if the weather was bad. If we hung out in our rooms, we'd do things like play Crazy Bones, Pogs, or Pokemon cards, or talk on the landline to friends if it wasn't being used. Edit. To clarify, I misread originally and subbed teen with kids in my brain. I did not play Pokemon cards as a teen. Mostly went to concerts, hung out at friends' houses to listen to music and smoke some weed, and hung out at parks and cafes where my friends worked. Video games, or we went outside and played, rode bikes, explored the woods, play baseball, etc. Walked all over the neighborhood. Would just show up at friends' houses. Pre-common cell phone usage. To say hi and do something silly like jump on their trampoline for 10 minutes together and then leave on the next part of my walk. Listened to music and thought my deep teenager thoughts. Played SNES and practiced band instruments. Read magazines and so many books. Honestly didn't spend a ton of time just in my room in my free time. It was mostly going out and doing things. I would read, listen to music, and write. Lie about where the Victoria's Secret catalog is. Magazines. Every month I'd buy different car and video game magazines. I read a lot of books. Wrote my own stories. Wrote in a journal. Built extremely detailed Lego houses. Played on my DS and GameCube. Talked on the phone in the evening. As I got older I started doing latch hooks and cross stitches. Sex, drugs and rock and roll. Well, without the sex and drugs. But definitely lots of rock and roll. And riding bikes and camping. And summer jobs. And taking the train everywhere because it was cheap. Only saw my room when I was sleeping or it was raining outside and I would be reading books. Obsessively rearrange my bedroom furniture and reorganize my belongings. Yes, I genuinely enjoyed it. And yes, I have OCD. I read, listened to music, cleaned my room, wrote in my journal, decorated my walls, did homework, read magazines, played around with makeup, tried on outfit ideas for school. We had video games, but mostly we were outside running wild and having fun. Read books, watched TV, listened to music, did a lot of drawing and painting. I think I was a lot less bored, as I had a longer attention span. Talk on the phone. We had this whole system of doing a 6-way phone call at night, and we'd all know to start it at 3 minutes after the hour. You'd pick up the phone and dial an automated line, so that when the call comes in the phone would ring the entire household. Watched VHS tapes. TV. Read a book. Listen to the radio waiting for your favorite song with your cassette tape ready to be recorded on. Went outside to visit friends. Talk on the phone. Technically my generation, older millennials, were one of the first to really use the internet. But it wasn't like it is now. We still were outside and using the internet was a privilege. Unless you had 2 lines you only could be online until someone had to use the phone. Most homes only had 1 computer because they were expensive. For social media I remember Black Planet and MySpace being a big deal, but it didn't take up time like social media does now. I read a lot, wrote stories and poems. I also spent a lot of time outside on my bike. I did games on the computer or consoles, but these were shared. TV wasn't a huge thing either because there wasn't much on demand, so you were stuck watching whatever was scheduled, which was always hit and miss. I was not easily bored. I think people assume that, but when you've not had access to constant entertainment, you learn how to entertain yourself so much easier. You have a lot more hobbies.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.